don't do these 3 things when choosing the next DeFi project to get into. So when I first got into the space, I was chasing 15 to 20% returns through liquidity pools, providing liquidity in liquidity pools. And then I realized there's this whole other world out there. And if you watched my videos, I've been on this journey in these videos for about a year, but I've been on the DeFi journey for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years now, and it's been a bumpy one. So I did these videos to share with people my journey, what was successful, what's working, what I'm doing. This isn't financial advice. Let's just start there. But what's the number 3 thing you should not do when getting into a new project? I'm going to go with chasing high returns. Chasing high returns. So it's really easy to do to see what looks like super juicy high returns. And any project that promises high returns, that's a red flag, okay? Now, that alone might not be enough to deter you from going into a project, but we've seen a lot of bot projects say, we'll get you 1.5% a day, just by the very nature of them saying and making a promise is bad. And I can name a whole slew of these things like Stable Fund, hold on, I have a list, Rely Fund, PGV, Alpha Capital, Wolf Capital, Green Figures, iBots. I can go on and on and on. Just by the nature of a bot project, that's already a red flag to me these days. And it really has to be able to show real trading, real returns. But even then, there can be significant issues. So chasing high returns, especially super high, unwarranted returns, it's probably a degree of Ponzinomics. So number 3 thing not to do when getting a new DeFi project is chasing high returns. Number 2 thing not to do when getting into a DeFi project is trusting audits, doxing, and KYCs. We've seen it all too often. Let's see. Let's start with Manny. Oh, you can trust Manny. He's doxed. He was doxed, but didn't stop him from absconding with the money. I think he even stopped the excuses. Joshua from Aviate. Oh, he lost his money because the guy he trusted took it. Well, he still lost it. He was KYC'd and audited. His project was KYC'd and audited. That didn't seem to help lose the money. Whether it's his fault or not, I'm sure he feels real bad about it. But even worse are the $1.6 million lost. I think most of it was lost. Then investors lost. They should feel worse than that. Recently, in the Green Figures, a project that I thought very highly of, George the Stamp. He was involved with someone who lost the money. Whether that person lost it or absconded with it and said he lost it, I don't know. But either way, it doesn't matter. If you're audited, doxed, KYC'd, that alone, you should not, don't get caught up. Don't trust those things solely. You can't just say, oh, they're audited, they'll be fine. The KYC is done and they're doxed. That's going to be a trustworthy project. Not always the case. So that was the number 2 thing not to do is trust a KYC, dox, or an audit. Number 1 thing not to do when getting into a new project, and I'm just going to say it, don't listen to the hype. Now, who spreads hype? Influencers, social media, YouTubers. You got to be careful because they are shilling something. That means they're getting paid to talk about a project. A lot of YouTubers, social media people, they're either getting paid to it or they're personally involved in it or they have a bag in there. There's a lot of times there's ulterior motives. And I'm one of these people, but my ulterior motives are very low and I'm pretty transparent about it, I like to think, especially if they're not telling you the risk. I'm in projects, but I'll tell you, like there's one I'm in right now. I think it could rug at any second, but they never cease to amaze me. I'm not going to name names now. I talk about it on other videos. You can watch those. They might sound convincing when they're talking about what projects to get into. They might have a good system of logic, but you have to do your own research. You have to be smart enough to look at the white paper, look at the people behind the project, and you got to tell yourself, either this is a project that's going to rug and it's going to be a race against time. I got to get in, I got to get out, or I'm not going to get into it, or it looks like a safer project. But I have yet to be in a project that hasn't rugged or hasn't disappeared or dissipated. I have yet to be in one. The only projects I'm in right now, the only one that hasn't rugged on me or I haven't lost or they haven't stolen money from me in one way, shape, or another is my EasyBot. It's a bot trading protocol that you keep your money in your exchange, and through an API, it sends buy and sell signals. That's the only one that I've had I've had it for a year and a half. Yeah, I still have Drip, but that Drip is worth absolutely nothing. Furio, same thing, worth absolutely nothing. I still have it. It hasn't gone away. But by the nature of that token, it's an inflationary, or I forget what they call it. It's a token that they just keep making more. There's just so many of them, it doesn't matter, and it just keeps going down in value. So you got to be careful out there. So the 3 things, just a quick recap. Number 1, I should say number 3, don't chase high returns. Okay, you're going to chase your tail around. Number 2, don't trust audits, KYC, and doxing. That alone is not enough to say this is a safe project. And the number 1 thing you definitely don't want to do when choosing your next DeFi project is buy into the hype. There's FOMO out there. Don't buy into, I've seen YouTubers look at small market moves and say, oh, it's going to the moon. And you have this fear of missing out. So you go and buy a bunch of that token. Don't do that. Do your own research. Understand what you're getting into. And for the love of God, do not put any more money in this DeFi space than you are willing to lose, because there's a good chance you're going to lose money. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, yada, yada, yada. But do not do that. So those are my 3 pieces of advice of things not to do in the DeFi space, so you can try to lose less money. You will lose money in DeFi. You just hope to win more than you lose. And there are ways to win. So that's all I got. Hope you enjoyed this brief video. Write your comments down below. Like, subscribe, share, do all those things. Please, I will talk to you next time.